Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm super excited about this video because I think it's going to be very entertaining. I have been a hairdresser for over 12 years and there have been some crazy people that come in the salon, and I have so many stories and I'd like to start sharing some of those with you because I think you'd find them really funny. Now looking back, I find them funny. At the time, they weren't necessarily funny. So let's just hop right into it. Okay, so I'm going to start small here. We all get like the occasional bratty kid, but I remember cutting this little boy's hair, or trying to, I should say. His dad brought him in for, I think it was like a back to school haircut, and so he was just squirming, and he was really mad and he just didn't want to be there. And so I looked at him and I said, listen buddy, like, I'm really sorry, I'll move as fast as I can, but I really need you to sit still because I don't want to accidentally cut you. He looked me square in the eyes, he calmed down for a second, and then he spit in my face, like just spit, and I just couldn't even believe it. And so his father's way of handling that was to give him a lollipop to try to calm him down. I don't agree with that method of parenting, but let's just breeze by that. So then the next one, so I had this client and oh my gosh, I just don't even know how to explain this client. His name was Irving, and he was all of like 5'1", and he had red hair that sometimes he would bleach out to be blonde. He always wanted me to create these like crazy mullets. He just was really intense in his personality. Like, he told me one time that he had started to take performance enhancing drugs, steroids, and so he was just hoping to get jacked, and he said he had a temper and this and that, and I won't repeat some of the other things that he talked about that were really none of my business. But I will never forget when he got to the desk to be cashed out for his mullet, he just started stripping, and I was like, what's happening? And the girls at the desk were looking at me. All of our mouths could have like hit the floor. We're like, what is he doing? And he's like, I want to show you my snake tattoo that I got across my body. And he did. He had a snake tattoo that wrapped around his, I believe it was was it his ribs or his waist? I don't know. But we were all just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened. Like, just in the middle of the salon at the desk, just started, pulling off clothes. Whatever, I don't even know. Takes all kinds. So then another story that, okay, these are going to start getting a little crazier. So there was this woman that came in, and I was newer. I didn't have a full clientele, so I was taking walk-ins. She came in, she said she wanted a highlight. Great, I can do that for you. It's my turn for the walk-in, like on the sheet, it was my turn. So she sits in my chair and I ask her, what can I do for you today? And she says she wanted to be Christina Aguilera blonde, and she wanted that like white platinum, like Gwen Stefani, like blonde. Only problem with that was that she was Lebanese. Her hair was almost pitch black. It was coarse, it was kinky curly, and it was down to her waist. So I explained to her, that is a nice goal, but we will not get you even close to that today. It'll take multiple sessions. We want to protect the integrity of your hair, yada, 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 So she says, that's fine, just do the best you can. Well, she has this massive McDonald's cup, like the super-sized cups. And I start noticing throughout the service that she's starting to act a little bit more loopy, and I, being as naive as I was, and I guess I still can be that way, I didn't realize that she had a full container of alcohol in there. So by the time I was ready to shampoo her, she was hobbling all the way down the center aisle to get to the shampoo bowl. And still at this point, I'm thinking, like, what's going on? Because she told me a few sad stories about how her health wasn't good and whatever. And so I thought, oh my gosh, like maybe this is her medication. I always like to believe the best of people. So I'm thinking maybe this is her medication, like don't judge, like, you know, whatever. And so we get to the shampoo bowl. She starts getting like really angry. Why can't you get me to what I need to be today? I don't understand. In all other countries, they can do this. Why can't you? I don't understand how American hairdressers work. And she's getting more riled up and more riled up. And some of the other guests are starting to kind of look over. And, you know, so I'm just trying to calm her down and reiterate what I already stated. So I finish shampooing. I didn't condition yet. She jumps up out of the seat and she's like, I just threw my phone. She jumps up out of the seat and she says, let's see how you screwed me up. And she didn't say that, she swore. But she hops up, she takes the towel, she throws it on the floor. She goes to my mirror and she's frantic. She's like, what did you do to me? What did you do to me? And at that point, everyone's looking. And my friend Emily came over and she's very good at calming certain situations and just she's really diplomatic and she's in such a calm voice, like, what's wrong? How can we help you? You know, and the woman takes my blow dryer and she goes, she messed up my hair. She threw my blow dryer across the room. She starts grabbing her stuff to leave without paying. And so I'm literally in the corner and I'm like shaking. I'm starting to tear up. I might have already been crying at this point. So we called the owners. They weren't in at that time. And they said, let her go. Just let her go. We don't need to be tracking her down for that. Like, let her go before she causes an even bigger scene. So we let her go. And then flash forward, later that night, she shows back up with other people, like her friends and her daughter, and they're sitting outside the salon as if it's like, we're literally thinking like, is this a drive-by shooting or something? Like, what is going on? Because they were just creeping, looking through the windows, because it was like a full glass floor-to-ceiling window to see in the salon. We were like in like a strip mall. So like they would just, wherever a couple of the girls would go, they would creep with their car and follow. And so the police had to be called. The police came, the people, including my client, had left. We called the local salons saying, you know, just so you know, this is what's happening. I don't know if she's going to come in and try to get freebies or if she comes in at a later date, like this could be something that you expect. So they all were really good about that. They appreciated the warning. She never paid for her service. It was a very expensive service. I spent hours taking care of her. I was so devastated because I tried so hard. And yeah, she literally like threw the towel, threw the blow dryer, screamed, swore, caused a scene, embarrassed me so badly. But some people are just not right. They're just not right in the head. So that's one of the worst experiences I've ever had as a hairdresser. I swear, this is TMI, I swear I had diarrhea for like 4 days because my anxiety got so bad. I was scared to come to work. I didn't want something like that to happen to me again. And then there's always that little part of me like, did I do something wrong? And of course I didn't. Like, I did the best I could, and it was a solid foil. Like, it was a good foil. The other girls had told me that. They're like, you know, you did what you were supposed to do. You gave her forewarning. You know, she was drinking. Like, you can't control that. So, that's that. Let me pick up my phone to see what I am. Oh, this one is a riot, guys. Okay. So, we're still in this strip mall. So we get a lot of random walk-ins because of people shopping in other areas of the strip mall. This man came into the salon, big guy. He was probably like 6'4", and he again, it was my turn for a walk-in, and he tells me that he's from Africa, that he has, I think he had like 8 kids. He's telling me all these different things about his life, which I love. That's why I do what I do. I really love beauty and cosmetology and all that comes with it, but I love listening to people. So yeah, so he's telling me all about his life, and then he asks me out, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm with someone. And he's like, oh, okay. And so then he comes in the next week, same thing. Next week, same thing. And each time he's asking me out. And finally, like, I just said to him, like, listen, I've already told you this. I've told you like 3 or 4 times, like, I'm seeing someone. I'm not interested. Like, the answer is no. And so he finally just gets so frustrated, and he says to me, I just don't understand. And I said, what don't you understand? His name was Simba. I said, what don't you understand, Simba? He says, I would pay your husband. And I was like, excuse me? He was like, I would pay your husband to have you. He wanted basically me to prostitute myself, and he would compensate my husband. He said, I just don't understand. It's money for you and your family. I don't need that. I don't need that kind of money. I'm good, thanks. So at that point, I'm just trying to get him out of my chair. I'm so frazzled and so flustered. So he leaves after paying, and I tell the girls, and they're like, you've got to be kidding me. So a week later, Simba comes back, and the owner, who can be super feisty, I loved that she did this for me. She goes, Simba, you're with me. Come here. And you could see he was like a deer in headlights. He was like, oh no. So she pulls him over to her chair, and she's cutting his hair, and she goes, so I hear you're propositioning one of my girls. And he says the same thing. He goes, yeah, in my country, I just, and she goes, I'm going to stop you right there. We're not in your country. And if I ever find out that you're treating my girls the way you treated Megan, then it'll be, blah, 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 blah. I won't repeat what she said, but she basically said, no, absolutely not. Do not come in here, and do not try to pay my girls for sex. So there's that one. So all of these are such crazy stories. So I have one that's a little bit sad, but it kind of like encompasses like why I'm still doing what I'm doing. One of my very first, one of my very first clients was this woman. She came in, and you could just see her hair was chop. And so she came in for a haircut and an eyebrow wax. So at the time, we weren't in the strip mall at this point. At the time, we had to go upstairs and do the wax in like the spa area. It was very dim, very cozy. And so she tells me this whole story of how she has been abused for years by her significant other, and how she finally got enough courage to leave him. She left him, and he snuck into her bedroom in the middle of the night, and he cut her hair while she slept. And he chopped her hair. And so he ended up telling her, because she woke up as it was already done, and he says, if I can't have you, I'm going to make you so ugly that no one else wants you. And so she's crying, and she's telling me this, and I must have been 21, 22. These are stories that like I had never heard before except on TV shows. And here I am face to face needing to respond to this. And so I do the haircut, and she looks in the mirror, and she starts to sob. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've made it worse. All I needed to do was help her, and I've made it worse. But she jumps up, and she throws her arms around me. She gives me the biggest hug. And she goes, I didn't think it was possible, but you gave me a good haircut, and I feel good. And I'm done with him. I'm so done. She's like, thank you so much. You have no idea what this means to me. So, all of that to say, the good outweighs the bad 10 times. I can't even explain. So if you're like thinking of going into a field where you're one-on-one with people and you're just not sure about it, maybe it's cosmetology, maybe it's something else, I would honestly just like encourage you to not just think of like the negatives or the crazy stories, even though the crazy stories are what gets the most attention and they're super entertaining, but like think of the reward that you will receive in your heart for hearing some of the things that you hear and being there for some of the people that you're there for. So that concludes this week's episode. If you like to hear crazy client stories, definitely give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Turn on your notifications so you know when I push out a video. And I'll see you soon. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to hear more crazy client stories, because I've been doing this for almost about 13 years. So I have a whole bunch of stories that have been in the brain bank for a little bit now. So yeah, definitely let me know. Thank you, everyone. Talk to you soon. Bye.